Support Our Sinclair and listen ad-free. Go to patreon.com/OurSinclair. Our Sinclair is also brought to you by the Div MMC Future from thefuturewas8bit.com. Quit waiting on tapes and fooling around with WAV files and load your games instantly with the Div MMC Future, a jumperless, switchless SD storage solution for all ZX Spectrums, from the 16K all the way to the Plus 3. Get yours today at thefuturewas8bit.com.
Hello everyone! Welcome to another episode of R. Sinclair.
Yes.
I am Amigo Aaron, joined by a man who shouldn't be here at all, the Brent.
That's not true. I was expected.
What? Who? No one expects the Brent. He just appears when he's ready. Brent, this is your first foray into the Spectrum world on this show, but we've touched the Spectrum many times.
Absolutely. I'll have to say, the Spectrum of all the shows that we've kind of dabbled with has me the most interested and the most excited. It has so many games, good ones, bad ones, and the palette that it has to play with is very unique out there.
That's what Boat says too, the palette.
Yes.
He's a big palette. You're a big palette guy too, aren't you?
Oh, it really sets the systems apart. I mean, you know a Spectrum game when you see it, just like you know a TRS-80 game when you see it, and it's all from the colors.
You're right. Now, you know, today's game is an arcade port of the game Rainbow Islands, as you know. Now, number one, have you ever visited any islands? And number two, have you ever gotten to the end of a rainbow?
Well, I can say yes to actually both of those questions. When I was in 8th grade, I went on a field trip to Wallops Island.
Where's that?
That is down off of one of the Carolina coasts. No, I'm sorry. It's one of the northern coast. It was in 8th grade, folks. You got to bear with me
somewhere in the water is all he knows.
But we went on that island, and one of its main features is it has a bunch of weather monitoring gear.
Oh, okay. And that's a bunch of weather.
We went out there on an 8th grade trip, and this was one of those special trips where only the smart kids get to go. And one of the smart kids couldn't show up.
Were you doing?
Well, and so I got chosen their place. I was actually a alternate.
I don't know, you were driving the bus or something.
So we get up there, and we're having a good old time. And this is our free period, because we're up there doing science experiments. And they said, you know what? You've got some free time. Go ahead and explore the beach, because we're out on the beach. And we're out there, and you see the sky get dark. Yeah. And I don't mean like, oh, it looks like it might rain. This looks like, well, it's over. Kiss the earth goodbye. We're getting destroyed.
Superstorm. You get those when you get near the ocean.
And we get hit with a gale, a near hurricane, low hurricane gale, upper gale. And
it's funny, I was actually hit by a girl named Gail.
But
she was an uppity girl.
We are spread out on the beach for miles because the students were just walking around by themselves. You know, these are the smart kids. They get a little more responsibility, so they can go out and walk on their own. The sand, as it pelts you in one of these type of windstorms, is so painful because it's just constant little beats of sand that I had pulled my shirt up over my head. Yeah. I mean, I was taking it in the stomach, but I wasn't taking it in
the stomach.
Oh, you have to.
Why couldn't you just lift your head up like this? You know, pull your head up like...
No. You don't understand, man. This is like getting shot with itty-bitty paintballs, like over and over and over. Right. So I walk like a mile back to the bus, and there are still kids out there lost on the beach.
Yeah.
Kids are crying. Yeah. Teachers are panicking. We weren't the only ones on the beach. Actually, I remember walking back, and some people were huddled down in the dunes, right?
Yeah.
And the teachers were freaking out. Get off the dune! Because you're not supposed to walk on dunes.
They're like the moors or the water when the sharks coming by.
Well,
get out of there.
You're not supposed to walk on them. Yeah. So the teachers are freaking out and told us, we're in 8th grade. We're all going to die. We don't care what the teacher says. We're getting anywhere there's cover.
Right.
So that was a very interesting part of my childhood. And then to the rainbow thing.
Wait a minute, before you start that, what was the name of that island again?
I believe it was Wallops Island.
Well, never go there.
No.
If you're a tourist and where'd you say, somewhere off the coast of America, because Britt can't quite narrow it down. You're either the northern or southern coast. Do not go to this Wallops Island. You will get walloped. That's why they call it that.
It was well. What was funny was, like I said, it had all the weather stations and stuff for weather monitoring, and they couldn't tell a bunch of 8th grade kids that you guys are all going to die. So, they had to have known it was coming. They were just like, man, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
So into the rainbow story.
Yeah.
We were actually at the start of a rainbow. Well, I mean, start in. How can you really tell? That it was literally. It looked like the rainbow was like 100 feet from us.
Yeah.
And it was one of the big ones that shot up in the sky. It was just one day after a band competition or a band class. I can't even remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no gold there.
There's no gold.
We looked.
Was there a leprechaun there?
Well, there might have been, but kids at that age are kind of small anyway, so it might have just been another student.
Speaking of leprechaun.
All right, let's do it.
Boat
is a leprechaun?
He's flying back from Ireland right now.
It's true.
Land of leprechauns, I've been told. Pixies, fairies, and whatnot. Fae folk, if you will.
Yes.
And if he's lucky, he should be landing in the next 4 hours or so back here in the good old USA. I think he's landing in Philadelphia.
Oh, well, and that's not lucky at all.
Stay on the plane, boat. And then he'll be whisking back here to West by God, Virginia sometime in the next couple of days. But he's had a good time over there. In case you're wondering where the boat's at, Brent just didn't just take him, beat him up, and just roll him, hit him with a shillelagh or something. He actually boats on assignment with the folks over at Amiga Ireland. But he should be back next week, and we will be back at our normal time, recording live next Friday at the Boat Studio basement.
I was happy to see that when I got called in, they don't give you notice on this stuff. It's like, hey, man, 30 minutes, get dressed, you need to play this game, hop, hop, hop.
He knew weeks ahead of time.
And I was like, holy crap, they're giving me a decent game to review. And because I get brought in for so much garbage. But this...
Are you sure it doesn't become garbage whenever you show up?
Oh, that's not very nice.
You filled in many times on the Amigos.
Yes.
Do you recall a game called Dark Seed we did?
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a decent one.
I saw that one of the fellows, one of our Amigos buddies in Ireland had picked this up and was bringing it home.
Bringing it home?
I'd like to think that your glance, your look, your take on Dark Seed may have caused him to buy this. So we'll see. Maybe you can move some units of Rainbow Islands here. Now, before we delve into this fully, have you played this in the arcade?
Yes.
This is part of that Tato, happy, smiley, super happy single screen gimmicks.
Well, it's not single screen.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Well, you're right. It goes up. But you know what I mean. It's not super crazy.
I take that back. I actually have not played this in the arcade. I've played this on a main machine.
Yeah.
One of those 101
you played the arcade
gimmicks.
Version.
Yes,
yeah.
one of the 101 gimmicks, but not a dedicated cabinet.
So you were pretty well in and knowledgeable in this particular one when it came
Oh
out.
yes, absolutely. This is a very popular game.
Why don't we go ahead and just dive right in? As we mentioned, the game this week, Rainbow Island.
Yes.
It's funny. Me and the boat had a look at this game on the Amiga. Gosh, it was like episode 38. I know it was an older one because there was no video for that one, so it was way back there. Now, we also looked at it in the same episode as we looked at D-Paint. So, it's quite an episode. So
I can see where the two are similar.
This game is so good, this gets its own episode. That's how good it is. So, let's talk about Rainbow Islands. Now, of course, Rainbow Islands is a follow-up to Bubble Bobble. All right? I think you know that. Before we get go ahead.
Sort of, yeah.
Well, it's a sequel. Indirect.
There you go.
We're going to talk about the arcade machine before we get into the Specky version. So, originally, this game was released by Tato in 1987. Do you call it? Boat always gets always a Tato or Taito to you?
Tato.
Yeah, that's why I always say so. Designed by Fukio Mitsuji.
That's probably not right.
The composer was Hisayoshi Agura, and this, of course, is the sequel to Bubble Bobble. This was now, one thing you'll remember right away, Bubble Bobble, two-player simultaneous game.
Yes.
And so you're right, there's quite a few differences between this and Bubble Bobble in that this has hot seat play, one person at a time. It supports 2 players, but you only get 1 person. This was released as a upright cabinet in the arcades. This runs on now get this has 2 main CPUs, a 68,000 and a Z80. and it's got the Yamaha 2151 for sound. Now this thing was in America was distributed by Romstar. They did a lot of
Yeah,
I know. I always like the name of that. So the main characters in this are Bubblin' and Bobblin'.
Makes sense.
All right, these are Bub and Bob in on our versions. Bubblin' and Bobblin' were the weird dinosaur creatures in the first game. Now, if you played the first game, you may remember that they were an evil jerk had transformed them into little dinosaur guys.
Correct.
At the end of that game, they got better. That's the best way to put it.
It turned me into a newt.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So you're out to defeat the Dark Shadow and rescue the Rainbow Islands. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
Oh,
that's right. You remember that?
No.
You don't remember the Shadow radio play? Well, screw you. So the game is set on a chain of islands, each one with a different theme, and you have each island has 4 rounds that you have to go through, and this is pretty much all held onto the Specky version. Like I believe the first island, so it's called Insect Island or something like that.
Yeah,
and that's I didn't see the other island, so I can't really get into what.
You didn't at least beat the first boss?
I got to him, but we'll get into that. The arcade machine version, this has multiple endings, tons and tons of secret levels, all kinds of crazy secrets. I've read that this does not. This was quite a challenge to have ported over to the Spectrum, and they really squeezed everything out of it they could. And we'll get into that in a minute. But so some things had to be omitted from the game. Now, some of the items that are still in here, but they don't reveal the secrets. The original game has a song that you would say was a homage to Over the Rainbow. It's a kind of an upbeat version.
It's like they play like 6 or 7 notes of it, and then they're like, "Oh man, we're gonna get sued." And go in a different direction with the song.
It's like boo, it's like a jazz version. They get jazzy. Now, a lot of home versions didn't include that song. They had a different song.
Yeah,
but this one has it.
That has to be copyright fear.
Yeah. The Amstrad version, the Specky, the C64, the Amiga, and the Atari all got the cool theme, which is cool. The other theme's okay too, to be honest with you.
It is.
So here are your islands. These are your islands that you get on the Spectrum version. You've got Insect Island. I would never go there. Combat Island.
Wouldn't go there either.
Monster Island. These islands are horrible.
They actually, Monster Island's actually a peninsula.
Toy Island.
That sounds like finally. But you got to really pay your dues before you get to the fun islands.
I like this one, Doe Island, but it's DOA. It's Revenge of Doe. Remember that Arkanoid? And everything on the island is balls, spears, and capsules. I'd like to have seen that. That's kind of cool. Because remember Revenge of Doe? The ball and bat game. You got Robot Island, and then you got Dragon Island. All right, so you got 7 islands in the Specky version, down from, what was it, 10 in the arcade. Not too bad. It's pretty good. So how do you play this game? Well, you've got the normal options here. You've got Kempston, you've got keyboard. I played this with the keyboard. How'd you play it?
I played it with a stick.
That's just the way. It's exactly what Boat is. Boat always plays with a stick. So what do you do in Rainbow Island? Well, good question. What you try to do is ascend to the top of this crazy world, all the while avoiding critters and picking up little goodies. Now, they're not just going to let you get up there. They're going to try to kill you. And so, luckily, Bub or Bob, depending on who you're playing, it depends on 1 or 2 players, is armed with his rainbow shooter, or rainbow powers, wherever you are. And basically, an arch shoots out from wherever this guy is when he hits the button. And the arches do 2 things. You can walk on them, and they can also kill the enemies. Plus, they have sort of a third secret power that if you, in certain areas, when you put the rainbows down, they will actually, you'll see like goodies appear in there.
And a 4th sort of secret thing, you can use the rainbow to pick up items.
Oh yeah. So
it's a very versatile rainbow.
It is. So this game is when you see it, if you've played the arcade, it looks pretty close. They did a pretty good job. Of course, this is playing up against the Spectrum's limited palette. And so what you've got here is you've got the backgrounds that are pretty much intact. The things that fall off are your rainbows, which are monochrome, which was pretty funny. I'm sorry, it is funny. And the bad guys and your character, which are all sort of monochrome. There's color clash coming out the yin-yang, but it's the normal sort of thing you would expect on the Specky. I mean, I think overall, just to get your initial thoughts on how it looks, what did you think of this? I thought it looked pretty darn good. Yeah,
it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, when you hear Rainbow Island, it's a colorful game. In the arcade, it's a very colorful game. And when you think, man, they're bringing this home to the Spectrum, it's going to be a disaster. And it's not a disaster, but they take what they have and they make it work. And it works well enough that you kind of you can kind of see the other colors, even though they're not there. At least I could. I think the graphics on this are absolutely fantastic.
I agree with you. Now, I should go into this a little bit. This got released in '90, Brent.
Pretty late in the game.
Published by Ocean, of course, because what wasn't. And the authors of this, the people that did it were Graft Gold. Now, Graft Gold, we've ran into them before on this show, but they're responsible for just a ton of stuff. I'm going to run over a few of the things here. They did Astra Clone, Avalon. They did Flying Shark, Off-Road. You know, Iron Man Stewart's Off-Road. Luna Attack 3D, Magnetron, Morpheus, Quasitron, Ronorama, Soldier of Fortune. A lot of games. So they were pretty old school, and of course they published across multiple platforms. We'll get that in a minute when I go into them. So this was done by a couple guys. David O'Connor, he's done Outcast, Soldier of Fortune, and Zytham, and John Cummings, who was responsible for Flying Shark, Iron Man Stewart's Off-Road, and Synapse. Now, you've got this will work on the 48 and 128K. I played the 128. I believe the 48K is identical without the music. Which the music's good in this, which we'll get to that in a moment. You've got a multitude of keyboard. You've got keyboard, all the interfaces, Kempton. This originally sold, Brentster, for the tape of this sold for £9.99p. If you want the disc version,
heck of a deal.
Yeah, if you want the disc, well, I mean, I don't know. That's £9.99p. That's what, $15?
That's a heck of a deal. I would have killed for a NES game with this quality back in the day for $15.
The disc version was £14.99p on that, and when this went out on budget, you could pick this thing up for just under £4.
Wow!
Yeah, not bad. The budget releases they made out like bandits on that. So I'm not going to tell you everything this was ever released for because it's released for almost everything, but I'll hit the higher ones. You got your C64, the Specky, Amstrad, Atari ST, of course the Amiga, the NES, the Master System, the TurboGrafx, the FM Towns, the Wonder Swan. You should pick this up for yours.
There you go.
Game Boy Color, Saturn, PlayStation, Genesis / Mega Drive, and there's also phone versions.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm sure there are tons. I guarantee this is on the PS4, on the Switch. I'm sure you can get this anywhere.
Probably in some capacity,
And Tato's things. Now, let's talk about Graft Gold. I found this interesting when I ran across it. So, in '89... Graft Gold was invited to convert the game to 5 computers. Okay, they were the C64, the Specky, the Amstrad, the Atari ST, and the Commodore. Okay, so Graft Gold at the time had 7 people in their office, and so what they did was they agreed on a sum of money, and so the way they usually did this stuff was whenever you did a conversion, they'd basically say, like, "Here's the arcade machine, go to work."
Wow.
So, but Tato actually gave them more documentation than you would normally get.
Sure.
And I read an interview where the guy said like this helped them quite a bit on getting the thing up there. And the way these games work, I always find this fascinating. When I read this, I thought it was kind of neat. So, they figured the job would take them 9 months, and so they got paid based on milestones within the time they thought they could do it. So if you got to where you needed to get to, you would meet your milestone for programming the game. I always think that's kind of neat. I always wonder, you never really think about how the game's programmed. You play it. I mean, how many bad games were just because they were under the gun? I mean,
a lot.
Because a lot of these, and I feel bad sometimes. We hear from the programmers sometimes or the artists, and we may kill a game, and they're like, listen, we had 2 months, or the boss's wife died, or I was making this thing in a band. You never know what's going on. So, but get this. they had to drag this arcade machine up the stairs to get it into the studio. All right,
we've been there.
So I think that came from the wiki. So they had an iron staircase, and they had to all drag the cabinet up the stairs, and so finally it took the whole team to get this thing up the stairs. So they had a hell of a time getting this into the studio. That's pretty bad. You know your studio is small, you can't get the arcade game in there. So they had different guys work on different versions. John Cumming did all the maps and graphics. And then Gary Foreman did the C64 version, and David O'Connor did the Specky version, as we mentioned, and the Amstrad version. And Jason Page did the 16-bit sounds and the C64 sounds. And Steve Turner did all the Z80 stuff and some of the sounds. So it was a true team effort. Now, I looked at this, having played the Amiga version, which is near arcade perfect.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
I had a good look at the C64 version of this, and while the C64 version, and I didn't play it, so full disclosure, the C64 version looked slow to me.
Okay.
And it looked marginally better. It wasn't a better by a ton. It just had better color.
Yes.
And when I noticed that when you finish the level, in the arcade, these colorful letters come up, and in this, they have them on the top of the screen. They don't look the same. They're not stylized. But I think this one probably plays better. And sure enough, I looked around, and a lot of people think that too. So I'm guessing that's sort of I'm sure there's a lot of fights over there. It seems like the kind of thing people would fight about. So let's talk about the actual way this thing plays. I've played Rainbow Islands a bunch. Considering we've covered it, and of course I know people that like it, and I suck at this game. I've never been any good at it, and I've never fully been able to understand the use of the rainbows when you're playing this game. I'm not good at this game. Now, can I get to the first boss? Yes, I can, and it may take me a couple continues to get up there. But I'm not sure I've ever beaten him, and this was no exception. So anything after the first boss, I had to go back and watch. It just doesn't do it. This game just doesn't do it for me. The rainbows as a weapon, I just don't like them. Now, in reference to this particular port, I think this thing plays great. The controls were, and this is a Spectrum as a whole. The controls were spot on. I had no trouble with the keyboard using it. I thought the guys jumping and stuff were just about perfect. I didn't have any problem with that. The bad guys were pretty normal. There was a lot of those times where I'd be rolling up the screen and just going so fast I'd run into a guy. And that's where the color clash comes in a little bit, because sometimes those guys can get hidden in the background, and it's a real hassle. And so, I know you're leaning at me like, you're full of crap, but I'm telling you, that happened to me. And that's the excuse I'm going with. They would whack me, and when I couldn't see him. But there were plenty of times where I could see him perfectly, and I'd still get whacked. What was your take on this thing, gameplay?
Well, let's step back, and you have to understand that I didn't like this game in the arcade either.
Yeah.
That's not to say it's a bad game, because it's a good game. It's obviously a good game.
Yeah.
It just does not connect with me on a level that I find the game fun.
Did you like Bobble?
Not really.
See, we're going to be the most roundly hated people. But I didn't like it either.
But like the game,
I like Liquid Kids is the first one that was sort of in that series that I liked.
A game sort of like this that I do like is Rodlin.
Yeah,
I like Rodlin.
That, and that's another game I don't get into that much.
Like I said, I understand the appeal. Playing in the arcade, it never really connected with me. So now I'm finding out I'm reviewing the Spectrum version. Okay, I'm going to really get in there and give this a shot.
Yeah.
So, super easy to emulate.
Yeah.
I fire it right up.
Oh, yeah.
Runs like a dream.
Yeah.
Runs like a dream. Smooth as silk. Everything feels good. You hit the button, the rainbow comes out. Even when you're shooting multiple rainbows, they're all just bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
Getting up on top of the rainbows, which for me in the arcade was sometimes a hassle. Just the way, sometimes I don't feel like, when I go to walk on it, I might only go halfway up instead of going to the peak of the rainbow. This, man, you just snap right up there. It feels really fast. Good. And shooting the enemies, getting the goodies, finding the hidden collectibles when you just shoot the rainbows off into nowhere. It's all there. It all feels good, right?
Yeah.
I get up to the first boss. I die. I continue. I play it. beat the first boss. I'm actually doing better than I've ever done playing this in the arcade. So now I'm starting to get into it a little bit more. I started the next level, playing a little bit, I die, I run out of continues, and I'm like, do I even want to play again?
Ooh, that's the kiss of death right there.
And it's so unfortunate. It's so... I mean, with the arcade version, you can continue infinitely, right?
Yeah.
This is 4 continues and you're done.
I'm sure there's a gimmick
somewhere. Oh, I'm sure there is, but at face value, 4 continues and you're done.
Yeah.
So I fire it back up, and I'm playing, and this time I get to the first boss, and I die, and I die, and I die, and I don't know why, because I beat him fairly easily the first time. Out of continues, it's like, oh. I'm not playing this again. I'm stepping away. And even though the Spectrum version of this game is fantastic, even though I respect this game, I understand that there are people that this really appeals to.
Yeah.
I'm not killing the game. I'm not killing the Spectrum version.
Sounds like a disclaimer's going out here.
But this game is just simply not for me.
Yeah, I hate to back you up on this. I hate when we agree, but on the rare times it happens, I'm just not good at it. One thing, you're meant to run up these rainbows.
Yes.
And I perpetually want to jump on the rainbows.
No,
and that breaks the rainbows.
Yes.
I feel like we're doing a Skittles commercial here. Taste the rainbow.
I go for some rainbow Skittles.
And so that's a hassle. You can easily, you can go real fast up these levels. And so, but you shouldn't.
No.
And so that makes it more difficult for me too, because I want to just go as fast as I can. Now they did, they had to get past the limitations of the Spectrum, and they're very clever. One of the things they did was they had, especially when they have multicolored flashing lettering at the top of the screen, and if you get a bunch of pick up a bunch of stuff. That's at the bottom of the screen, multicolored.
Yeah, the diamonds.
It sort of lifts this game out of almost a monochromish or a 2 or 3 color or 4 color thing to make it look like it almost works. It's close.
You know, like I was saying, I could see the other colors that it was trying. You're probably right. That's probably where I was getting those other colors, even though they weren't there. I was feeling that they were there. Also, sometimes when an enemy hits a rainbow, it goes away and it fades in different colors. I really think they did an incredible job with this.
The detail work on the enemies is good. They're very Tato-y looking. They look like cute little guys. When your rainbows collapse, so the way this works, when you put a rainbow out, if you just run up the rainbow, you run up it like it's a ramp.
Yeah.
If you jump on it, it shatters, and it's a very satisfying effect when it shatters.
Yeah, it looks good.
And if you've got a guy under it, it kills them. So if you hit the guy with the rainbow, it kills them. If you jump on it while they're under it, it kills them, which is cool. I like that stuff. We should also mention there are some pickups in the game you can get to increase your guys' ability.
Yes.
You can get magic shoes.
Makes you run faster.
There were more in the arcade.
Yeah,
but
there were.
So magic shoes, yes, gives you great speed. There's red potions. And they will add 1 to the number of rainbows you can throw. So you can get up to the point where you're throwing 3 rainbows. You can get crazy when you're doing that. Then there's a yellow potion, and that will speed up how fast you can throw the rainbows. That's kind of neat, too. There's also, like we mentioned, you definitely know there are secret rooms. Every room on the Spectrum, every level has a secret room somewhere. Did you ever find these secret rooms?
No.
Yeah.
But that's something from Japan. They love their little secret things. Yeah. They love just hitting an arbitrary point and there being a secret there.
It is kind of cool to have secrets. It gives you a little extra replay value, Now, I should mention that I only got the first end boss, but I saw several others.
Yeah.
And the end bosses are disappointing. They're monochrome and they're flickery. They're not great. They get the job done.
I didn't have a problem with them. They are, to make them bigger than life, they do pixelate quite a bit, and that kind of sucks, but it's nothing that takes away from the game.
It's quite remarkable what they were able to squeeze out of the Spectrum, I have to say.
It is.
So I had a look to see how this charted on the review tables. The World of Spectrum followers gave this an 8.33. Very nice score.
Yeah.
Computer and Video Games gave it a 95. Crash gave it a 94. Sinclair gave it a 90. Sinclair User gave it a 94. Your Sinclair gave it a 94. Micro Hobby gave it an 89. It also earned the Crash Smash and the SU Classic Awards. So this was a wildly popular game for its time. Now,
deservedly so.
I'm like Brent. I am not came here to bury this game, but to praise it. It's a good game. It's just a game, and I know I mentioned this on the Amigos, because this, and by the way, the Amiga version's got nothing on this in terms of playability. This thing plays, and the Amiga version is great.
Silky smooth.
They did a great job and as far as platforming type games go on the Spectrum, this has got to be up near the top. It's just not my bag.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to kill it. Let's see if we got anything from our good buddies.
I do believe we had a few reviews of this. Yeah,
I think you're right here. So let's get over here and have a look. So we actually got quite a few reviews here. So Hermsky rates Rainbow Island 7 out of 10. I was always an immense fan of its predecessor Bobble, and Rainbow Islands came off just as I retired my Spectrum. Having now played the game on my Spectrum, didn't quite have the same appeal for me. Maybe because it's a vertical scroller this time around. However, I enjoyed the fast, smooth platform action in the game, and wow, very colorful, the Spectrum's capabilities. Okay, the rainbows are monochrome, but that would have been a color clash miracle. Overall, a good, playable arcade conversion for its genre. Pixels at Dawn writes, this is a top arcade port, especially on the 128K mode. You get the music and the sound effects all the way through, and it's extremely colorful and eminently playable. We definitely weren't disappointed getting this version on the 8-bits 8 out of 10. And they're right. You get the gameplay, the music, the sound. It was all there. Very impressive. Eric Nelson from the Pixel Gaiden podcast writes, when I first imported my 128K Spectrum Plus 2, the first batch of games I tried included Rainbow Island, and I was impressed. You can squabble over the monochrome sprites and color clash compared to rival systems, but the gameplay is great and the controls are tight. This is one I go back to often. 8 out of 10.
Yep.
Our good buddy Chris Folds. Rainbow Island review. A cracking conversion of the arcade title, retaining all the charm and playability of the original with a pace and playability way beyond the expectations of the system, and with a great soundtrack to boot. 8 out of 10. D-Man writes, didn't get to play a chance to play through that this much this week, but the quick blast that I did suggests that I'll go along with the 8 out of 10 score. Frondo writes, impressive port, especially on the 128K version, is great. There's quite a bit of color clash, but somehow it's hardly noticeable while playing. 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. So I think those are all pretty high marks on that one, Brenny. Where would you want to assign a number to it?
I would say 7.
Yeah.
But if someone says, man, this is an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 game for me, I'm not going to say, oh, no, you're an idiot. So look at all these flaws.
Yeah.
Because the flaws aren't there. It's just not a game that really connects with me.
I did look this up on the eBay. There are tapes available. These are going for between $7 and $24. I did find some $24 ones here in the States. So
wow.
If you're interested in that. Now, before we go, let's talk about the Patreon support for the Art Sinclair channel. If you are interested in sponsoring this or any of our Amigos Retro Gaming shows, you can head over to patreon.com, look up Amiga Retro Gaming, and if you feel like dropping us a buck or two, we'd appreciate it. That'll get you on our Discord. I believe there's a certain level that will get you on our game selection committee, which will allow you to pick the game that we'll be playing. And of course, we'll be shooting this again live this coming Friday, just back to our normal time with the boat back in town. So there you go, Rainbow Island. I'll tell you, Brentster, I know this is a good game, man, and it makes me sad that I just can't get into it, man.
Well,
it makes me incredibly depressed.
I understand where you're coming from, but you've got to lighten up a little bit, Aaron. You've got to let those sad blues go. We'll get you a little rainbow cape here, and you gotta think positive. You gotta think Here. Let me get you a little hat. We'll get you a little hat.
This isn't doing it for me so far, man.
No. It's all coming together. And here. Let's give you a little shades.
Well, okay.
And I think we can put a little bit of a song into your heart. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true.
You're right, Brent. I feel great. See you next week, everybody.